host, Philip Lanos, and today we have Autumn Calabrese, is a celebrity trainer, Beachbody super trainer, has created 10 programs for Beachbody, including 9-week Control Freak, 21-day Fix, an 80-day Obsession, along with nutrition program Ultimate Portion Fix. Autumn, mucho gusto, I believe is how they say it in Spanish.
Yeah, I think
Welcome to
so.
the show. Welcome to the show. How are you feeling these days during the COVID training people?
Oh, well, I don't do in-home training. Everything that I do is with Beachbody. So I create at-home fitness programs. And that's what I've been doing for the last 7.5, almost 8 years. So it's, while we are stuck in crazy times in this pandemic, what I do and the business that I am with, and the company that I'm with, Beachbody, I feel like we're serving people even more than we ever have in the past with giving all these at-home options. So I'm staying very busy.
Awesome. No, that's good to hear. And you're keeping people busy.
Yes, trying to keep them busy and healthy and in a positive state of mind, or as positive as we can be right now.
Did you always see yourself doing fitness like as a kid, or did you want to be a scientist, or like I wanted to be president when I was a kid, so that didn't
Oh,
happen. I'm a host of a podcast, but was that your dream? Fitness? Did you always like running around and things of that nature?
yeah, I never sat still, not ever. Like it was like a running joke, the amount of energy that I had, but I wanted to be a dancer. And actually I did dance most of my life, all the way up through college. I was a dance major. So there was a part, I don't think I would have identified it as I want to be in fitness. I wanted to be Madonna. I wanted to be in the 80s,
Nice.
Paula Abdul. That was the dream, was to dance. I ended up with an injury in college in my back that
Oh,
made I have a bulging disc in my lower spine. And so you wouldn't even really think to put me in the fitness category with that. But that sort of hampered the dance career, but it led me down the path of this career. And it's my second love right after dance, or right there with dance. So I feel very blessed to have found my way on the path. But I think I always knew I wasn't going to sit still. In fact, I had a
gotcha.
desk job once for 4 months and I hated it.
Yeah, I imagine if you're really kinesthetic, the last thing you want to do is sit still.
Yeah.
Um, that's common with entertainers, but in particular, I imagine, was it the rehab that then made you realize, like, well, I still care about the body. I still like movement and fluidity and that energy. Is that how it happened, or was it always in part? Because I know as a dancer, especially like modern contemporary dance, things of that nature, you have to keep yourself moving and stay within a certain like shape and I mean conditioning. That's what I mean by shape.
I never had rehab for my back. There was never actually, even when I was diagnosed with the bulging disc in my lower spine, all I was told was, if you keep dancing the amount you're dancing, you'll be in back surgery before you're 21.
Oh
That's
wow.
all I was told. And so really I had to find my own way. I wasn't given any information on how to help take care of the injury or take care of my body in a way that would protect me, because as long as the bulging disc doesn't slip out of place and as long as it isn't actually bulging and pressing into a nerve, I'm fine. I have no issues whatsoever. It's when I move improperly and it slips that I'm in pain and I'm down and out for 10 days at a time. Thank goodness I have spent the better half of my life learning and growing and trying things and getting stronger and a stronger core and moving in a functional way, so that, knock on wood, it doesn't really slip out of place these days. I haven't really had an issue. But I always loved, there's always been a side of me that loved helping people. Even when I was young, even when I was in high school, I was an assistant dance teacher at my dance studio. I
Ah,
always loved working with people, showing them the way. I always knew there was a part of me, that wanted to entertain, but there was also a part of me that wanted to inspire people to do better, to be better, and to show them that it was possible. So I kind of get to have the best of both worlds with this. I do get to be in front of the camera. I do
right.
get to have fun, but more importantly, I get to help people. So that was really what attracted me to the career, was
And that
there just watching what's happening with people and their health and knowing that it doesn't have to be that way.
and how does it feel to like what's the process behind designing a program? Do you find that like learning the structural the structural likeness of setting up a dance routine helped you to create the fitness routines that you've created for people?
I think the biggest thing that helped me, like the biggest thing I took from dance was, as a dance major, it wasn't just dance classes. I had to take kinesiology and learn the body and proper body mechanics. But the biggest thing I learned was to be a stickler for form. So when you're dancing, the dance teacher will make you do it over and over and over again until your form isn't just perfect, it's just second nature. So I am a stickler for form when it comes to moving properly, because I also know what moving improperly feels like and how much it can hurt us. So that is one aspect of creating the program. There's a lot. It's like a puzzle. It's actually kind of fun if you really stop and look at it. It really is a puzzle that happens in my head, and I have to start putting the pieces together. So it's determining, what do I want that particular workout program to serve? What are we focusing on? What is the goal of the program? And then I work backwards from there to create it, going, okay, how long does that need to be? What's realistic for what it will take to get to goal X? And then you start to pick the movements that would work. Okay, I need to learn this movement before I can do that movement, and this one will build on that. So it really is a fun puzzle. The latest program that I just finished filming that's launching right now, it's launching on Monday, 9-week Control Freak. I spent the better half of 7 months writing it and rewriting it and tweaking it and retweaking it, because it gets written and the framework is there, and then I go in and I start fixing. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into
Yeah,
it.
no, I can imagine. It's like any other product out there, right? I mean, this is a framework, as you said, and that in itself is a creation. There's a creativity to that. It's otherwise it's just freestyle, but
Yeah,
it's not.
otherwise
It's
just throwing something and hoping it sticks, and
right.
that's not how I want to train people. There is a science behind it, and there should be.
So
Otherwise, you're just
9 week control freak.
yeah.
Now, did you name so? There's 9 weeks as in the name, right? But why control freak? What's going on there?
It's funny. So I did not name this program.
Okay,
My CEO did,
marketing.
but I love the name that he picked. And here's the funny thing. So I have workout programs like 80-day obsession, right? And
Right.
9 control freak. And those names can be triggering to people, but you have to remember there's always a positive or a negative spin that you can put on something. We're obviously putting a positive spin on it. What happened was, when I was describing what I wanted to write, what I wanted to create to my boss, to our CEO, he was sitting across the table from me, and I finished describing it, and he was like, control freak. And my first reaction was probably what everybody's is. And I was like, no, people will freak out. They'll think it's so negative. And then he's like, Autumn, first of all, you are a control freak in the best way. He's like, you take control. Like, if you want something, you go make it happen. And he's like,
Uh,
we need to teach people to take back control. Never could we have imagined, when we named the program last October, that we would be sitting in this situation, right? Where life feels out of control. It
Very
does.
timely. Very timely.
Yeah, and like I said, sometimes the universe just works in certain ways, but here we are. And it really is just about taking back control of the things that you can. It's not about white knuckling through life. It's saying, I can be in control of my fitness. I can be in control of my nutrition. I can be in control of my rest and my mindset. These are things that I have control over. I can't control everything that's happening in the outside world. And sometimes we let that outside world just affect us so much, and we feel like, oh, I have no control over anything. And that's just not the case.
I really like that you highlighted that it's not just about the fitness aspect. There's rest and nutrition that need to be involved. Do you include those periods or that breakdown inside your program?
Oh, yeah. That's always been, since day one with Beachbody, that has been so important to me. That's why I have my nutrition program, Ultimate Portion Fix. It's not a diet. It's just teaching people to eat in a more healthy way. There's not eliminating of food groups. I don't believe in that. It's just balance. It's moderation. It's portion control. We do significantly reduce the amount of highly processed foods that we eat. But aside from that, nothing is off limits. You can have cocktails and chocolate and pizza and
Right.
burgers, like things we can
Oh
have.
man. What's the
Yeah.
name of
So
this again? No.
ultimate portion fix. So that absolutely is included in all of my programs. And then even the rest and recovery, 9-week control freak is the first program where it's actually programmed in. So for like every day that we have a workout, we have what we call a controlled stretch at night. It's just 5 to 10 minutes that you do at the end of your day of stretching, breathing, relaxing the nervous system so that you can get a better night's sleep, because so many people go to bed so hyped up and so anxious from the day that they don't end up sleeping. And then that just starts the vicious cycle
That's
of
why
not
I'm drinking
eating
6 cups
right.
of coffee. Yeah.
Exactly. 6 cups of coffee, all of those things.
When I told you that was cup number 6, you were probably like, "Well,
I was
I
like, "Oh my
already,
goodness."
I already know where you're at." So tell me what's the difference between working with a celebrity and work? Because there's always that mystification of like, oh, a celebrity's life is different. But I think when it comes down to brass tacks and getting into physical fitness, nutrition, and rest, do you find that the disciplines that celebrities had to develop to get to where they are help aid them in staying on task and getting in shape, as opposed to the average Joe, average Jane, who they want to do the same thing and have the beach body experience, right? But they may not have the disciplines in their lives. They might be very successful in their careers. They might not. Do you find that those things correlate, or is it just a matter of, like, at the end of the day, who really wants it?
I listen, discipline is learned like anything. So some people learned it at a younger age. I learned it at a younger age from being a competitive dancer, and some people need to learn it now. And just like when you're starting anything new, there's going to be a learning curve and it's going to take more time. But is there a difference between a celebrity and the average person? No, there really isn't. We like to think that there is. The only difference would be this. This is truly what I believe is the amount of money that a celebrity might have, right? Whether or not they're affording a personal chef or somebody like me to come to their house. But when you have something like Beachbody On Demand, you have access to me. I do come right to your house. I show up in your living room. I'm going to say the same thing to you that I would say to that person that I used to stand in front of in their house, right? I'm going to train you the same way. Everything that I would have taught them nutritionally, I teach in my program. So there really isn't the excuse of like, well, they're a celebrity, so
Right.
it's easy for them, because everybody is busy in their own ways, right? We all have our own set of problems. You don't know what that person has going on in their life. You don't know what their schedule is. You don't know what pressure they have on them or what ailments they might be, working through. So it's really easy to dismiss it and say, well, they're a celebrity, so it's easy for them. But most weren't born into celebrity. Most had to work their way and work their way very hard up to where they are at and be very disciplined. So disciplined is learned. It's not just right there. So it's just a matter of when you decide to start teaching it to yourself.
No, I absolutely. I wish for some things it's so easy for me to just, like, the neural pathway is there, right? And then I was on this 100 push-up kick myself every day, like, and pull-ups, so that the pushing and the pulling
Yeah.
muscles, um, and I got started, and then I moved. And after I moved, everything went out the window. And I just talking to you now makes me realize how I dropped the ball on that. And it's just so funny how easy it. What do you do when do you catch yourself falling off, or are you just so disciplined that it's what they say, which it's easier now to just do it than to not do it?
It's just a part of it's just a part of me. It like
Mm.
my So for me, it's to the point where working out is like brushing my teeth.
You
I
got to
just
do
would
it.
not, right? Like, it's how I take care. It's a part of taking care of my body. I wouldn't not shower. I
Yeah.
wouldn't not brush my teeth. That's just a part of a healthy habit, right? Of taking care of yourself. So I do take my rest days. I take 1 or 2 rest days a week. And that is just as important as the workouts. When you're beating your body up, you also need to let it rest. But that's what my workouts are to me. They are like any other part of my
Lifestyle.
daily routine, my lifestyle of taking care of myself. Um, and it does feel like if I miss one I don't, first of all, I don't beat myself up if I miss a workout.
Mm.
If I'm missing a workout, there's a reason for it. Whether it's my schedule, and so I've planned, okay, I've flip-flopped my rest days around, or I know, okay, this week I'm getting in 4 workouts instead of 5, and it is what it is. Or yesterday, like I woke up and I was so sore yesterday. most people would look at one of two options and go, okay, well, I'm going to push through the workout super sore and maybe possibly hurt myself because I'm so sore that I'm not going to have proper form, or they would skip it. This is where I think being a control freak, being in control, being the one that called the shots in your life goes, okay, I don't have to skip it, but I also don't have to do what was scheduled. I went for a really long walk, like a 3.5-mile walk. I did some abs. I did a lot of foam rolling and stretching. And that was it. That was my movement for the day. And that felt
Mm.
amazing. And that set me up for success today. So yeah, for me, it's just a part of the routine.
No, I get it. I get it. It's identity. I think there was a Atomic Habits by James Clear. It talks about how uh, going after a result is harder than going after an identity. And so the fact that you speak so truly to the idea of like it's who I am, it's part of brushing my teeth, it's just how I take care of myself. It sort of reinforces that idea. The only other thing I ever thought for myself that to get me out of that funk whenever I'm like, as I watched this video where they said that there's like a sea anemone or however whatever that word is, that once it stops moving, it eats its own brain because it no longer needs movement, right? And then I heard that there's like something called BDNF, by brain derived neurotrophic factor or something like that, and where it if you don't move, a certain part of your brain shrinks and you need movement, and that's why it expands. And when I heard that and it improves learning memory, I got nervous because I was like, wow, if I don't move, I can't keep learning. I'm a bookworm. So I imagine if there's what do you do to light a fire under someone's butt is what I'm saying. Like when you meet somebody, is it case by case basis, or are there some tried and true methods where you tell people something and they go, you're so right. It's undeniable. This is why they have to do it.
I wish there was a tried and true method. I wish there was one thing to say that got everybody psyched and ready to go. There's not. It's part of why I have a million different posts on social media, because it's just like, okay, I'm going to say it this way today and I'm going to say it that way tomorrow. And it's going to speak to people differently and different people for different reasons. So yeah, what makes one person move doesn't make necessarily the next person move. It really has to be that sort of case by case. I do think in general, people will take certain things into account, their health, their fitness. I'm sure if they hear things about, the brain and whether it's shrinking or expanding or growing or aiding in your ability to learn, although I do find that people sometimes doubt those things, unless you're really rattling off hardcore statistics to them,
Yeah.
they don't always buy in, right? They don't always buy in. They're like, oh, that's not true. I could tell you my dad is one like that. I could tell him a million reasons why. And he's like, that's not true. So I think you got to say it, and you got to say it over and over, and you got to say it in different ways so that you could speak to as many people as possible.
Well, I like that you brought up social media because I imagine you have a whole community that you've basically taken care of. Probably especially in this pandemic where they reach out to you. Like, do you personally respond to as many people as you can?
Yeah, I run my social media. There's nobody doing it for me. So if there's a response, it's because I wrote it. I typed it. It's all me. It's take the photos and put the posts up and try
How
to really
awesome.
think about what I want to say. And
How do you manage a community? Like I imagine you have an amazing community. How do you manage that? Do you listen in for like ideas for programs? Like how do you look at your community?
that's the amazing part of a community is because I have control of my social media, because I am the one listening and responding, it absolutely puts my finger on the pulse of what they are asking for, what they want, what are they struggling with. It does lead me to go, okay, if I'm going to write something, what is everybody asking for? Part of what led to my first cookbook was people asking for recipes to go along with my nutrition program. They're like, great, we understand it now, but what if I want enchiladas? Like how do those classify? And I was like, that's a great question. And that's what led to my cookbook, which then led to a second cookbook, which led to my cooking show. So it's just a part of, I want to say it's a part of the job, but it really doesn't feel like a job. I don't even like to use that word because it doesn't, I love what I do so much that it doesn't feel like work.
That's how
That's what
you
I
know.
do.
Yeah,
I want
that's
to
how
help
you
people.
know.
I want to help people. So of course I want to be on there talking to them. I just do it in increments. I get up and start my day and I check in a little bit. And sometimes in the middle of the day, I check in. And by the end of the day, I check in, and you hope that you sort of got a feel for what people are looking for from you and that you've responded.
No, that's awesome. So if there's a listener right now going, yeah, but it's not going to work for me, what would you say to somebody who's really just full of doubt, and they've tried everything, every diet out there, they've heard it, heard all, there's probably someone in business right now who's like overworked, underslept, all the things that are probably getting in the way, and they think it's the fitness that isn't working when it might be lifestyle. Who knows what the variable is, right? But if there's anybody out there who knows that's what they're supposed to be doing, like we all do, but still isn't convinced, you as a trainer, what was one thing you could say as a word of encouragement that you would give them?
We've never tried everything. We've never tried everything. Start again. Try something different. What works for one doesn't work for everybody. That's why there are so many fitness programs out there. That's why there are so many different ways of eating. Listen, I teach ultimate portion fix. That's what I created. It's balanced macronutrients, it's portion control. We reduce our highly processed foods. That works for a lot of people. Does that work for every single person? No, it doesn't. There's people who are vegan. There are people who are vegetarian. There are people who are plant-based and paleo. And there are people who intermittent fast and who follow the keto diet. And all, depending on the personality and who you are and where you've been and what you've tried, try again, try something new, try something that maybe you didn't think would work. But here's what I will say. If you go, you're going to get what you go in with. Okay. So if you go in with the mindset of it's not going to work, it's another thing that's going to fail me, I suck, I can't do this, you're going to prove yourself right, because that's what our brain wants to do. It wants to see that we're right. So if you're going in saying, I'm going to try it, but I know this one isn't going to work, you're not really going to try it. You're going to come in, you're going to do it, but you're going to do it kind of half-assed and it probably won't work. But if you come in and you're like, you know what, I'm going to see what this is all about. I'm going to give it everything I've got. There's no guarantees, but I'm going to try. You might just be pleasantly surprised. So the shift starts really more in your mind than it does in your actual physical body. And the one other thing I would say about that is maybe we stop making it about our physical, like maybe we stop making it about appearance. So many people are like, oh, I only lost 5 pounds. What do you mean only? You lost 5 pounds. That's great. But they put so much emphasis on like that number on the scale, or do I have a 6-pack, or do I fit into these size jeans? And what they don't make it about is, am I being healthy? For me, that's always what it is first. I mean, don't get me wrong. Having a flat stomach is nice. Fitting into the small clothes, great. But that's not what it's about. That's not the main reason. It's, am I healthy? Am I strong? Am I going to live disease-free, hopefully?
So
Yeah,
true. So
that
true.
is way more motivating for me. And that is going to make me go do that workout more than I want a 6-pack. Because on the days where you're tired and on the days where
you don't want a 6-pack that bad.
you don't care if you have a 6-pack, but if you're like, no, I need to be healthy, I need to be strong, I want to be there for my family, I want to be there for my kids, that's a much bigger motivator than I want a 6-pack.
Right. The 6-pack is the cherry on top. It's a consequence of that lifestyle, but the goal should be to strive for health. I love that. It's so true. And to be honest, the way you started that off hit me so hard. It's like, you've never tried everything, because we're always thinking, oh, I know it all, I've done it all. No, you haven't. Try again. I love that. I love that. I really do. And for me now, so with this all being said, what's next for you? So you said you have this program coming out, right? On the, when did you say? The 29th?
Monday, the 21st.
21st. That's going to be huge. Do you have like a rollout or promo code, anything?
Well, so right now it actually is available to our Beachbody coaches. So they are the first ones. They got access to it a week ago. There's not a promo code or anything. You get it on teambeachbody.com. If they come to my social media, I'm talking all about it. There's links there for it so that you can get your hands on it. There is some equipment that comes with the program. It's a part of purchasing Beachbody On Demand and getting access to the online workouts. There's 45 different workouts. There's 45 different controlled stretches. There's 9 bonus workouts. There's a week worth of the workouts if you're doing it when you're traveling so that you don't have to have access to a bunch of equipment. My nutrition plan comes with it. So as of December 21st, it's available. And one of the big things I'm pushing right now is, New Year's is coming up and New Year's resolutions are around the corner.
Yeah.
And I hate them. And so I've actually started with Beachbody this year. We're doing a petition of no New Year's resolutions because that doesn't really work, right? If you have a goal, you don't wait till January 1st to start. You start right now. So many people are like, oh, I'm going to start after Christmas so that I can enjoy all the junk food and I can sit around and be lazy until after January 1st, and then I'll start. But if it's truly important to you, you don't wait, you start right now. So that's what I'm going to encourage people to do, that if being healthy is really a goal, stop waiting for Monday, stop waiting for January 1st, stop waiting for the next birthday. You start right now.
Oh man, you're right. You're right. The New Year's resolution is the thing everyone goes to every single time. Even the ones who say, yeah, no New Year's resolutions. But then privately, the first thing you do is, I swear this year, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Every time. I know because I do it. Every time you call somebody out on here, the entire episode, I've been like, yeah, well, I say that I'm not, but I am that. I am that. And
we all, we do it. Lasts for about 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, you're going to go back to your old behaviors. If you haven't put a plan in place to overcome it, and that's really what it is January 1st is not a magical day, right? You don't wake up a new person on January 1st. So unless you've put a plan in place and you've figured out ways to overcome maybe some of those bad habits, January 1st is going to be the same as December 31st.
I never thought about that. Have a plan for the fact that you might fail at this. Like you might quit, you might drop the ball. And what's your plan for that? Because everybody has a plan for success, but nobody ever has a plan for what happens if you fail.
Yeah, well, you never fail unless you stop trying. So I get the better thing would be, what's your plan for the day when you fall off? Because we will all fall off. What's the plan for the day you decide to eat a little more dessert than maybe you thought you were going to, or to skip your workout? The plan should be to get right back on your plan, right?
Extra slice of cheesecake always goes good.
Happens, but you know what? You just pick right back up where you left off. That's it. That's the plan. So many people are like, well, what do you do? What do you do if you eat? And I'm like, you don't do anything. You just get right back to what you were doing. You don't wait a week. You don't cut out carbs. Oh, I'm going to try to do it. You don't starve yourself. You just pick back up with the next meal and starting to eat healthy, or the next day and the next workout.
So you said you're giving all this information. You have all the links on your social media. What's your channel for the listeners?
It's just my name. So it's at Autumn Calabrese, or my website, autumncalabrese.com.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. There it is. Well, wow. I personally think that really said it all. I wish there was more time, because I actually want to know more about like these cookbooks that you develop. But you said the links are on your social, even for the books?
If you go to autumncalabrese.com, all my links are there. So on my website, both the cookbooks, access to Beachbody On Demand, all my programs are up there. You can find it all there. Different links get put up on my Instagram depending on what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on. Yeah.
So right now the link for 9 Week Control Freak will be up there. But once you go to Beachbody, all my stuff is there.
That's huge. No, and then like I said, I like to wrap things up by asking somebody in general, if there's somebody you haven't met yet, which might be hard for a celebrity trainer who's met probably so many people, but I might turn the phrase here. If there was somebody you'd love to train with, or to train being them studying under you, who would that be?
Okay, people will probably laugh at this. But J-Lo.
Hey.
Jennifer Lopez, Jenny from the block. She is the boss of bosses. Hey. That is somebody who is literally everything she wants. She goes out and she gets. She works like nobody works. She is healthy and fit and beautiful and curvy and inspirational all at the same time. I mean, I got to see her in concert a year ago, and at 50 years old, she was up there doing it, and she was out dancing the 20-year-olds by a long shot. I was like, she doesn't need backup dancers. She's actually putting them to shame. So I think she would be so fun to meet, to train, to have
Yeah.
a dinner with.
And you never know who's listening. I mean, that's the thing. This might be running. That's why I always ask, and you're right. I mean, I'm ashamed compared to, JLo's kicking butt and always has, and you're right, especially with the dancing. I remember when it was trending. So that's cool. So JLo, if you're listening, you already
Jayla.
know. Autumn gave you a shout out. What's up? So yeah, Autumn, thanks for stopping by. This has been amazing. I hope that we can come back when you get your next book out or your next program out. It would be cool to have you back on.
Yes, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I really appreciate it.